I'm going to be showing you guys 31 reasons as to why your website isn't ranking. Now, this article, Reasons Why Your Website Isn't Ranking, the link will be in the description, so if you guys do want to check it out, feel free to. But this is what I'm going to be referring to. This article, The Reasons Why Your Website Isn't Ranking on Google, it's based off of clients that I have potentially onboarded, or potentially even clients that I've done consultancy with. These are all common factors that I see across websites as to why they don't rank. So we're going to deep dive into that. And I've also categorized it into domain level reasons. So if your domain is weak, for example, we'll obviously go into that. I've categorized it into page level rankings as well. And I have also categorized it into backlink ranking factors and user engagements and also social signals as well. So there's a few different reasons as to why a website doesn't rank, but we'll deep dive into this. And this isn't this video, it's not in any particular order. This is just based off of my findings. So for example, your website might not be ranking higher on Google because of reasons 6, 7, 8, and maybe 15, for example, but another person's website might not be ranking because of reasons 25, 22, and 21. But I'm going to go through it all, and we can also look into how to actually fix the issues. So reason number one, it can be thin content pages. Now, this is a very common issue still to this day. One thing that I will recommend is that it's not necessarily about word count of a page. So if you've got, for example, a blog article and it's on position 15, it's not necessarily about the length of the article, but how in-depth that actual article is. One tool that you can actually use to actually figure out which pages are thin content is Screaming Frog. Now, Screaming Frog, it's not really a sexy tool by any means, but it actually does get the job done, and it tells you the word count of all of your web pages on your website. So if I just fire in my URL very quickly, without getting too technical, without going down an actual rabbit hole, if we actually click on HTML, you can see here you've got word count, and then for the actual page, so my on-page SEO checklist page, it actually has 1,100 words. Now, is that sufficient? Is it not? That's when I'm going to need to look at my competitors and realize, do I need to include more content on this page, or would something like this be enough? We then have got domain age. So the actual age of your domain does slightly matter. Now, the reason for that is because Google obviously has a lot of patents that it's looking at. Now, if, say, for example, we were a brand new website talking about heart transplants, Google's not going to trust our website because there's going to be websites that have been registered 25, 30, maybe not 30 years ago, but 20 years ago, some websites even older than myself, that are talking about certain subjects. Now, domain age, you can obviously mitigate that and overcome that by building quality backlinks to your website, by building citations through to your website, doing stuff like that, giving it the correct signals. Google will actually trust you a lot more. You've then got the Google Sandbox, and again, kind of similar to domain age, where Google prefers older domains because, for example, they've been around for a lot longer, they've got naturally more backlinks than you. The Google Sandbox is kind of the same when it comes to new domains. So if you've recently purchased a domain, let's say 2 days ago you've went and purchased a domain from GoDaddy, for example, you're going to have what's called the Google Sandbox. Now, although Google has said, or Google representatives have said that it's not a thing, the actual algorithm leaks that happened a few months ago, they would say otherwise. So basically, the Google Sandbox, it is for newer websites, and again, it's kind of like a trust factor where Google doesn't necessarily trust you for certain keywords, and obviously you can mitigate that by building backlinks, by building topical authority, and in time, Google will trust your website more. We've then just got lack of domain authority, right? So you might be a 5-year-old domain, but all of your competitors, they've just got way more domain authority, they've got way more backlinks than you, they've got potentially digital PR, guest posts, niche edits, citations, And that can be the case. Like, for example, there's a lot of websites that I work with, and they actually have that issue right now. They've got a lack of domain authority, and some of the websites are like 10-year-old websites, but they've just not necessarily spent a lot of time and efforts on their marketing and specifically on their actual SEO campaign. Then we've got lack of silo-specific backlinks. So obviously, you've got backlinks that point to your actual homepage. You've also got backlinks that are specifically targeting a certain page. Like, for example, if I was to load up my own website on Ahrefs, a lot of my links point through to casual-com. They don't necessarily point through to my inner pages. And that's mainly because I actually use this website more as a resource for you guys. But if I really wanted to rank for why your website isn't ranking, right, which is the page that we're on right now, I might look to actually build specific backlinks through to this page, and this would essentially power up this specific page. Now, would I recommend that for every single website? Probably not, because a lot of websites that I'm looking at nowadays, from when it comes to like consulting and stuff, is a lot of websites, they just actually lack backlinks pointing through to the actual homepage. So it's more of a domain authority issue. That's not always the case, but I'm just letting you guys know from the patterns that I've seen. Then we've got a Google penalty. So receiving a manual action or an algorithmic penalty can severely impact your site's rankings. Now, this is kind of like a twofold. You could either get positively impacted from a Google algorithm update, or you can obviously go down from a Google penalty, right? So if you have been impacted by a Google penalty, the quickest way that you can obviously see that if you have been impacted is by loading up Google Search Console, and it will give you an actual error. Now, if you have been impacted, I highly just recommend hiring a consultant. If you guys do need help with that, feel free to reach out. I've recovered a lot of websites that have been impacted by Google penalties, whether it's spam penalties, whether it's link penalties. So just bear that in mind. Then we've got page level ranking factors. So we've got low SEO scores. So one thing that I always recommend to people is you've got tools like MarketMuse and also ClearScope. Now, what these tools basically do is they will analyze the page. So if I wanted to rank higher for why your website isn't ranking, right, I can log into one of these tools or ClearScope. I can give it the keyword I'm trying to rank for, and it will give me an SEO score for that page, based off of LSIs, based off of secondary keywords, based off of NLP entities that I need to be included on this page to rank. Now, the more entity rich your content is, the higher your SEO score will actually be, and these tools actually tell you. So feel free. They aren't even affiliate links, so if you want to sign up, I believe they actually do have a free trial. I'm not certain about ClearScope. But with MarketMuse, you can actually get a few free credits. Then we've got lack of keywords in content, preferably higher up the page, right? So if you're trying to rank for, if you're trying to rank your articles, I always say to people that there's three main things when it comes to a well-optimized blog article or a well-optimized SEO article. You need to obviously worry about SEO, like the actual readability scores, the actual secondary keywords that you should have, the keywords that you should also have on the page. The second thing that you should also worry about is the sales copy on the page as well, because at the end of the day, every article on your website should be generating you cash in some way, shape, or form. If it's potential people signing up to your mailing list, if you've got an e-commerce store, there's all of these reasons as to the every single content. And the third reason is obviously you've obviously got like the readability score as well. So you've got SEO, the actual sales copy, and the readability score of the content. So if you only just focused on SEO content, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but if you only focused on SEO content, people are just going to get bored. It's going to not look very natural. If you only just focused on sales copy, it's not necessarily going to rank. So you need a hybrid of all three to rank a page well. So then we have got schema markup. So you've got certain schema markups for pages. Like if I show you guys a couple different examples. So if I search like buy a desk online, right? You've obviously got product schema. So if we take a look here, so you've got store rating schema. You also have got local business schema, and that sometimes is a little bit harder to come across. So if I was to search, let's say, lawyers in New York, let's see if we can, law firms in New York. Let's see if we can get a schema that actually shows up for that. Personal injury law firms, New York. Let's see if any of these guys have it. So as you can see here, you've got local business schema. These two guys are using it. Then obviously on the e-commerce side of stuff, you've obviously got like the product schema, you've got store schema, you've got all different types of schema that you can obviously use. You've got offer schema, you've got about page schema. So you can definitely use different variations of schema. It should be done at a page level because that's going to ultimately give you the best performance. Now, one thing that I will say about schema is that it can be very time consuming. Also, don't necessarily just rely on rank maths schema if you're using WordPress, because if you're able to use custom schema, which does take a little bit longer, you can obviously use like ChatGPT nowadays. It can be a little bit more in depth, can obviously take a little bit longer, but don't just rely on like the preset schemas, because in some cases it's just using like the what everybody naturally uses for schema, and that might not necessarily be the correct schema that you need on your website. Then we've got LSI keywords. LSI keywords are basically latent semantic indexing keywords. So it is keywords or secondary keywords that are related to the main keyword that you're trying to rank for. So for example, if I am trying to rank for reasons why your website isn't ranking on Google, right? Or reasons why your website isn't ranking, that's the main keyword I'm trying to rank for on this page, right? Google would be a LSI, because obviously a lot of people, that's the main search engine that they use. I'm actually losing my voice here. But then also Bing could also be an LSI. You've got SearchGPT nowadays, right? So all of those are actually LSIs for that actual main keyword. Then we've got obviously unique content. Now, again, I might be sucking eggs here. Some of you guys are probably a little bit more advanced, but for some of you guys that have just started your SEO journey, right? Please don't just go on your competitors' websites and just copy and paste their content, because that can lead to a penalty. And I probably shouldn't be saying that, because I feel like everyone should know that. But again, if any of you guys are just starting out in your SEO campaign, like that's pretty major. Like Google can detect unique content, or it can detect duplicated content based off of when your competitor has uploaded that article and based off of when you've uploaded that content. Now, there are certain ways that you can paraphrase content, that you can actually improve your competitor's content and actually upload it. That's what I would recommend doing, as opposed to just literally just copying and pasting your competitor's content. Then we've got length of content. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that the length is super important, but typically speaking, right, if I am talking about how to train for a marathon and my article is only 250 words, I'm not going to be able to hit all of the points as to how you should be training for a marathon. Whereas if we were to have, like, let's say a 2,500 word article, there's going to be a lot more subheadings that I can actually include within that article that will actually make that piece of article way more better for the actual user. So then we've got table of contents. Now, the table of actual contents can actually be a much better user journey for your visitors on your website. Like, for example, if I go up to my table of contents here, right, I've actually broke down all of the sections. So if somebody thinks that they have got a backlink ranking factors reason as to why their website's not ranking, they can actually very quickly just click on here and it's going to scroll all the way down. So if you've not got a table of contents and you're writing pretty long articles, I highly recommend getting it, because it's actually also going to help you rank for secondary keywords as well. Then we've got multimedia, so incorporating videos, images, infographics can enhance user engagement. So if I actually go over to my on-page SEO section, if I click on content pruning here, right? So as you can see, I've got like a video here. So I've got like a 25-minute video. I've got a big infographic here. I've also got images throughout the actual content that is just call to actions as well. So it's just media rich. Now, the reason why I'm saying that you guys should be having media rich articles is because not many people actually like a big long wall of content. Like if I click here, media, so multimedia, right? So not everyone likes reading a big blog content that's just 6,000 words. Like, try to break it up. Some people prefer video content. Some people prefer actual infographics. Some people prefer blog articles, right? So why not just try and hit all three? Try and create the best piece of content on your website. And obviously, if your competitors, if none of them have any multimedia, and if you've got a video, if you've got an image, if you've got multiple images, if you've got infographics, if you've potentially even got shorts, for example, you're going to have the best piece of content on the actual internet. Then we've got fresh content. So the best example that I can actually give to you guys is recently in the UK, we've had our elections and a few different laws changed. And I was actually speaking to a law firm that actually does law. I was speaking to a law firm that does law, and they weren't ranking for a variety of keywords based off of the actual freshness of that content. Now, whenever the actual government changes in the UK, they also change like corporation tax, capital gains tax, etc. And they had a load of content that was just out of date now. So literally just by keeping your content up to date, if say for example some of you guys are affiliates watching this, there's new products coming in. So the new televisions in January 2024 are probably not the best televisions in November 2024. So making certain that your content's up to date. Outbound links as well can definitely help. So linking to high authority sources boosts the credibility. So previously I was talking about how you should be using ClearScope and MarketMuse. And I actually linked out to them. Some SEOs think that that's a bad thing, but in reality, it's actually creating a good user journey, because somebody that is struggling to rank, they might actually sign up to those tools. It's literally just one click away, and I've actually helped that user. So just think of it that way as well. Internal links. So if you've got a lack of internal links, that can definitely impact your rankings. Again, a tool for that is Screaming Frog. It will tell you the amount of unique in links that you've got, or the unique internal links that you've actually got. Then we've got supplementary content. So if we've got related articles, guides, FAQs, that can definitely help. I actually have spoke about this in detail on one of my blog articles here. So if I click on page SEO, and if we click on keyword clustering, so a lot of people, what they think is that they just need one article and they're going to rank from an SEO point of view. And that's the actual worst way to think about SEO, because you actually need to think about SEO and all the keywords on your website as almost like a funnel, right? So if we've got if we're trying to rank for buy organic dress, what we also need to probably have is a middle of the funnel article, which would be eco-friendly clothing reviews, and a top of the funnel article, which is what is sustainable fashion. And all of those can internal link to our buy organic dress page. Then we've got keyword at the start of the title. So then we've got keyword start of the title tag. I am quite literally losing my voice while recording this. And obviously, if we have got the keyword in our title tag, that will definitely help. So make certain that we actually have got article or title optimized articles as well. So making certain that our primary keyword is included within the actual page title. Then we've got keyword frequency. Now, I'm not saying go and be stuffing your keyword, but if you're trying to rank for a certain keyword like men's running shoes or how to train for a marathon, right? If you don't mention that keyword at all in your article, and if your competitors have mentioned it like 6 times, Google quite clearly knows what your competitor's article is about, and it's a little bit struggling with understanding with what your article is about. So just remember that. Then we've got backlink ranking factors, so lack of inner page backlinks, which we've already covered, and then we've also got over-optimized backlink anchors. So that's one thing that I see a lot of websites actually negatively impact their website. So although backlinks do help your website, just remember that you need to make certain that your anchor portfolio is very much natural. Like, for example, if I was trying to rank this page, or if I was building links to this page why your website isn't ranking, right? The last thing I want to be doing is going and building, let's say, 10 backlinks with the anchor why your website isn't ranking. This is actually a negative SEO attack. Like, there's a lot of people in like the adult industry, in porn and CBD and stuff, that will go out and negatively SEO their competitors' websites. So just bear that in mind. Maybe even actually run a backlink audit on your website and see if that has happened to you, because that is actually a very common thing. Then we've got reason 23, and that is toxic backlinks. So not every single type of backlink, or not every single backlink, will have a positive impact on your website. In some cases, it will actually have a negative impact. Now, what you want to be making certain that you are doing is you are removing any low quality or spammy links when you're doing potentially outreach. One tool that I actually recommend for this is Link Research Tools. It's a little bit of an expensive tool, but it does a very, very good job. And it actually looks at the backlinks of your backlinks and basically analyzes to see if those are spammy links as well. Then we've got user engagement ranking factors. So if you've got a slow website, like, try to speed it up. Again, if, say, for example, you're scoring, let's say, 85 on Google Page Speed Insights, right? You get into 100 is probably not going to jump you from position 5 to position 1. But if, say, for example, you are position 65 across all or a lot of your keywords, and you have got a slower website, and let's say it's ranking, or on Page Speed Insights it's ranking position, let's say, or it's got a score of 5 out of 100, that would be something that I would want to actually improve upon. Then we've got poor mobile optimization. Now, this is a very common misconception, right? People think that Google, when it comes to read your website, this is how it looks at your website. But in reality, it's actually mobile first indexing. So if I click on inspect, and if I change the viewport to mobile, so this is how Google actually crawls your website and how it looks at it. So if, say, for example, you have a huge hero banner and you've got like 6 images, and then your content starts all the way down here, Google's probably not even going to start crawling your website until it revisits your website 3 or 4 times. So just remember that. Make certain that you've actually got a good mobile optimization. Then we've got social ranking factors. So lack of social signals, weak social engagement can reduce your content visibility. So what I would be recommending here is try to be active on social media. And I'm not saying go on and upload 30 articles or publish 30 posts every single month, right? But again, if you've got traffic from other sources and you're not just solely relying on Google, that can be a very positive ranking factor. So if you've got potentially Instagram traffic or Facebook traffic or LinkedIn traffic, and you've also got Google traffic, ultimately your SEO campaign is going to be improved a lot more. Then we've got lack of brand signals. So, for example, if you were to look at the actual backlinks of Casual Dash, right, you'll very much realize that I have got a lot of backlinks that actually just mention my name, that it's not specifically going after any keywords. Like what I mentioned before, I'm not really that bothered about ranking casualdash.com. It's kind of more of a resource hub. Like, I get probably 7 or 8,000 visits every single month from like my YouTube channel through to the website. But if I was going to really try to rank for it, and if I was to really going to go for it, I would basically focus on building a lot of brand signals. So building a lot of branded backlinks, doing a lot of podcasts, for example, which I actually have done. Building up a YouTube channel, which I'm doing right now. So those are all brand signals, and Google loves branded signals because that's basically a trustworthy website at that point. So then you've got competitor content is better. And again, I say this to people all the time on Twitter and stuff like that. And sometimes I get flack for it, but in reality, like a lot of times I look at websites and I look at a competitor that's actually outranking them, and I look at the content between the two, and their competitor website or the competitor content is just a lot clearer. It's a lot better overall. So go in with a fresh set of eyes, potentially even send your URL and your competitor's URL to a friend, right? Because at that point, it's not going to be biased at all. And they're going to be able to give you like a real reason as to who they thought the content was actually better. Then we've got EAT signals. So again, if you're like a local business, if you've got reviews, for example, that can help. If you've got offers, that can help. If you're doing podcasts, that can help. If you've got case studies as well, that can also help. Now, I'm not saying that you need everything that I've just mentioned, but if you can work on a few of the things that I've mentioned, that can definitely help as well. And again, another thing when it comes to EAT that not many people speak about is the amount of backlinks that you actually have as well. Then you've got content pruning. So content pruning, I've actually also done an article on that recently. That's the process of removing bad articles off of your website. So in some cases, you might have tried to do topical authority. You kind of might have spread yourself too thin, and that might be the reason as to why your website isn't actually ranking. So the content pruning is actually looking at low quality pages and improving those pages. Whether it is potentially building more links to them, whether it's building more internal links, whether it is improving the content, or potentially removing that content from your website in 301 or 410 in it. And reason number 31 is maybe you need to hire a consultant. Now, again, I wouldn't necessarily see this as a negative thing. A lot of people hire me as a consultant. A lot of people hire my team to do the actual SEO. But from my experience, if you are a business owner and you're struggling to potentially rank your website, maybe it's probably best that you actually hand it over to my team or to just someone that actually does SEO for a living, because a lot of times what you will find is that business owners, like for example, I work with a few dentists, right, and they've went to university, but in university they don't actually teach you how to market a website. They don't teach you how to do SEO. They don't teach you how to do PPC, Facebook ads, none of this. So in some cases, it's actually better to just sit back and be like, do you know what? I am really good at cleaning people's teeth or fixing cavities, or maybe you're a really good personal injury lawyer. Who knows, right? And in that case, you might want to just stick in your lane and just hire somebody like a professional like myself or somebody else to actually do the SEO work for you. But that's been 31 reasons as to why your website's not ranking. I am losing my voice, so I'm probably sounding like Donald Duck right now. But again, if you guys have enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like. And if you want a strategy call, feel free to fill in the contact form. Click on the big work with me button and I will be in touch with you. Thanks.